Hello, teachers. Welcome back here. I am reacting today on a very special plane called the SR-71 Blackbird. Somebody recommended this aircraft. I was watching another video about the U2 and the aircraft also came up and I said, I am going to definitely react on this very particular aircraft. It looks sleek, it looks dark, and it looks American. And what am I going to do? Let you guys know how I feel about this. Unfortunately, other people are not around to enjoy it with me, but I get to live life. It's late at night here and I still have to watch this and enjoy it. Please, let's go.
In the midst of the Cold War, two MiG-25s raced to intercept the threat along the Soviet border. They're the fastest interceptors ever built, and if they really push their engines, they can reach an incredible Mach 3.2. But it's not enough, because what they're chasing can outrun and outclimb any threat. A plane engineered to be invulnerable.
SR-71 Blackbird.
The Cold War locked the United States and Soviet Union into a tense struggle for global influence and control. Both sides poured enormous resources into military technologies. But getting an upper hand means knowing your opponent's next move. And in the 1950s, little was known about facilities deep within the Soviet Union. An extensive network of radar stations, surface-to-air missile sites, and interceptor air bases kept the Americans away. Until 1956, when U-2 spy planes began flying over the Soviet Union. Neither fast nor stealthy, U-2s had one critical advantage. At 70,000 feet, they could fly above Soviet air defenses. US President Eisenhower was even assured Soviet radars couldn't detect the U-2 at such high altitudes. But it turns out the Americans were wrong. The Soviets had tracked the U-2 since day one, and it was only a matter of time before they'd be able to shoot one down. Simply flying high wasn't enough. Even before the U-2 began its surveillance missions, there were already plans underway to replace it. Because true impunity over Soviet airspace would need a combination of incredible speed, altitude, and stealth. And this led the Americans to explore some pretty radical spy plane concepts, like a ramjet-powered aircraft that would be deployed from the bottom of a supersonic B-58. But in 1959, the CIA chose Lockheed to develop the next generation of spy plane. Meanwhile, the U-2 continued to fly over the Soviet Union, but not for very long. Because in the spring of 1960, a Soviet surface-to-air missile finally managed to bring one down. The captured pilot and wreckage were paraded around the Soviet Union, used as proof of Western aggression. As tensions rose, now more than ever, the US needed a replacement for the U-2.
Okay, guys. Thank you for watching up to and including this point. I have a special request. And before I give the request, my name is Onel. I am an African dude reacting to American tech, American culture, American history, American equipment. Yes, that is what I do. My request is, please, when you watch my video, try as much as possible to watch 50% of it. If the video is not good, try to give me recommendation. That is how I learn. I call you guys my teachers. If it is good, please leave a comment and leave a like. I also want to implore you to consider joining my channel membership. It helps me improve. I have gotten some money to buy a mic, but I have not received the money yet in a bank account. So for now, I am still using this. So my audio quality is not the best, but we deal with that. Thank you guys, and thank you so much. I am going after the SR-71 Blackbird. Think of it. Is the name not cool? Is it not American? See you guys. And by the way, How fast does this thing fly?
And what Lockheed developed would be unlike any aircraft ever built. A plane.
Look at that thing. If your country is not measuring in 12s, I guess you can build that, right? If you're not measuring in inches, if you are measuring in meters like us, because we measure in meters, that explains why we definitely don't have this. But then, let's go.
That nearly 60 years after its first flight remains the fastest air-breathing jet to ever fly. Lockheed's highly classified spy plane would be known as the A-12. Originally used by the CIA for reconnaissance, the A-12 was also developed into an interceptor prototype, armed with air-to-air missiles, along with a variant that could launch an unmanned reconnaissance drone. But it was the SR-71 Blackbird, a variant developed for the Air Force that would go on to serve for decades, while earlier versions were quickly retired. The Blackbird could cruise at Mach 3.2, right near the edge of space, and do it for hours on end. To achieve this, Lockheed's engineers had to innovate pretty much everything from scratch. To sustain such incredible speeds, the SR-71 and its predecessors were powered by engines often described as turbo ramjets. Below Mach 2, they functioned like conventional afterburning jet engines. But above that, they behaved more like ramjets, as an inlet cone adjusted to bypass air around the engine and directly into the afterburner. At Mach 3.2, the SR-71's exterior would heat up to beyond 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Easily hot enough.
What? 500 degrees. Are they cooking people, or are they baking? Where does the fuel go to at this temperature? Who?
Enough to soften aircraft aluminum. The Lockheed engineers used titanium for 92% of the aircraft. And in the 1960s, this required inventing entirely new fabrication technologies. Its unusual shape did more than just spook UFO enthusiasts. It helped reduce its radar signature, as did its special black paint, which earned the SR-71 its Blackbird name.
Blackbird.
The A-12 and SR-71 were first deployed over North Korea and Vietnam, where they were unsuccessfully targeted by over 800 surface-to-air missiles. But the spy plane never flew into Soviet airspace, at least not officially, because another shoot-down over the Soviet Union would be catastrophic. So instead, the SR-71 flew along its borders, using its powerful side-looking radars and cameras to peer hundreds of miles into Soviet territory. And that frustrated the Soviets. In 1976, Viktor Belenko defected to the West by escaping the Soviet Union in his MiG-25. He described the frustration of trying to intercept Blackbirds. The MiGs were Mach 3 capable, but only for a few minutes at a time, not for hours like the Blackbird. Nor could they climb to reach the SR-71's incredible altitude. Even their enormous R-40 missiles lacked the guidance needed to strike the SR-71 head-on. For years, the Blackbirds were practically invulnerable. They could outfly and outclimb any threat. But by the 1980s, MiG-31s were roaming the skies. Equipped with sophisticated radar and long-range R-33 missiles, they posed a legitimate threat, as did a new generation of Soviet surface-to-air missiles. But the greatest threat to the Blackbird wasn't an enemy missile or jet, it was itself. No Blackbird was ever lost on a mission, but more than a third of the 50 built were destroyed in accidents. One literally disintegrated around its pilots. They were also enormously expensive to operate, each one siphoning about $300 million a year out of America's defense budget.
300 what? $300 million a year.
A fleet of special aerial refuelers and a small army of support and maintenance staff were needed just to keep these planes mission ready. And advances in spy satellites, aerial drones, and the SR-71's inability to deliver surveillance data in real time diminished some of the plane's utility. Add to that politics and infighting for defense budgets, and by the late 1980s, the SR-71's days were numbered. They were officially retired in 1998, with 2 sent to NASA for testing.
Same year
The
I was born.
technology behind the A-12 and SR-71 is now well over 50 years old. Yet somehow these incredible planes still speak to us. Not about the past, but the future, leaving us with a sense of wonder, unlike any other in aviation history. A few months ago, I launched my mustard site with Squarespace. It was fun, easy, and I did it literally in a few hours. But now, it's time to take it to the next level. Using Squarespace's incredibly easy and intuitive e-commerce.
Okay, guys. I'm sorry for cutting out that commercial. I don't know if it's selfish of me, but I don't know if it's okay by me to leave it go all the way. Back to the SR-71. I can't get enough of America yet. I can't imagine all of this. Yeah. I just did a video on the the U2 Dragon Lady. And my brain is not yet settled yet. And here I come with the SR-71 Blackbird. Guys, that's a lot. What? And this is a thing that they retired them in 1998. 1998. That means they have flown, retired before I even know they existed. That's too much, guys. I'm not saying that that's too much. Like, you guys shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, it's too much for my head. It's too much for my brain. Yeah. I know you Americans are just like, okay, we build that. Yeah, we have the money to build that. But you don't understand. Us over here, we don't have the ability to imagine this stuff because we don't have them. We don't see them. We don't hear about them. And that's why it's hard to imagine them. Okay. Somebody who has worked on this aircraft will just be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I know that it exists. And so why are you so... Bro, even a Cessna aircraft, we don't have it. We don't produce it. We do literally nothing. I don't mean the whole of Africa. I mean in my country. I mean in my region. Okay, I don't know about other African countries, but I'm pretty sure the story is about the same. God bless your country, Americans. And see you in another video.